Okay, now we're going to really learn something today. We're going to show you how you figure out how many units of sand to how many units of gravel to a bag of cement. It's different no matter where you get your stuff from. You see here, this is what's delivered for white sand. So you see how many pebbles is in it? We're just looking at, there's 122 bags of this sitting right here. I'm not showing you just the ones that have big pebbles. I'm just showing you that they're all that way. Okay. When you're mixing concrete, we're not talking cement, we're talking concrete. It's aggregate and, oh, the turkeys are here. Yes, yes. It's coarse aggregate. Now they call this 3/4 stone. This is actually some really good stone for 3/4 stone. Good as you'll get anywhere in the world. If you put water on it, this stone is actually black. It's not gray like granite, it's black. And it's really hard. And the coarse aggregate is the strength of your concrete. It's not the cement and it's not the sand, it's the coarse aggregate. So what you want to do is have as much coarse aggregate touching coarse aggregate, not other things. But you got to fill in the spaces so it can't shift around. So like normally you would do a 1 cement, 3 sand, 2 rock, something like that in the US. We're doing one cement, 2 sand with pebbles, and 3 gravel. Now the way you come up with this is you get yourself a container, like a wastebasket under your sink in your bathroom or something, you know, one's tall but not very big around. And you get you a cup, or you can use water glasses if you have some big water glasses. And you take 3 absolutely level to the top water glasses of aggregate, 3/4 inch stone, and throw them in your wastebasket. It would be better if you used more. Like you could put in 6. Wouldn't make any difference. The more there is, the easier it goes. Now you have to know how much of that pebbles and sand you can put in there to chalk up all this 3/4 inch stone so that it can't move. If it was on a pile on the ground, when you stepped on it, you don't want it squiggling this way and that. You don't want your foot pressing down and making a dent in it. You want it locked all together. So you have to know how much of the sand and pebble looking stuff to put in there. The way I go about that is I take the turkeys away first. And that's only 2 gobblers, 2 jakes over here making all that racket. Anyway, you get the same size of like big water glass or whatever, but you put the coarse aggregate in, and you fill it flush with the top, just like you did the aggregate, and you start adding glasses of water. Count them. If you put 6 rock, when you get to about 4 glasses of water, the water should come up and be submerging most of the aggregate in your wastebasket. Little bits of the rock will be sticking up, but pretty much it's nearly to the top of the rock. And you get a felt tip pen and you can mark the side of the wastebasket, how deep that is, what the number is. Okay, now you're going to have to put in a bag of cement, but the cement, it disappears in the mix. Reason being that this rock, when you wet it, if you was to smash a wet rock, you're going to find about 1/8 of an inch or a little more all the way around that rock. The water sucked up into it by hydroscopic action. Same thing with the sand and the pebbles in the sand. So the water that's, hey guys, no, go away. Not your rock, that's my rock. So the water that goes up in the rock and the sand, it's going to carry cement with it. And all the sand has to be coated in cement. And all this rock here has to be coated in cement. The cement is sort of the binder. It sort of glues things together. It's not intrinsically strong. Cement and water is a really weak thing. Not much better than house plaster, really. But a lot of it's going to get sucked up in the rock, and it has to coat everything. That's why when you're making mortar, where this pebble here has a certain amount of surface area, if you took it in little grains of sand, you're going to pick up a surface area 20 times as big, because you have to coat all those surfaces of the stuff that's in the interior of the piece of aggregate. So it's going to take more cement per unit of sand to make mortar or render, because there's more surface area, because all the aggregate is small. Render, what else is there? Mortar. That's the major things. What else do we mix? We mix about 4 different mixes here. Concrete is another one, of course. Okay, so you put in 6 cups of aggregate, and you put in 4 cups of water to fill it on up. So you know that the total you got to add to that number that you have in there is going to be less than 4, because you got to leave a little room for cement. So suppose you dump all the water out, and the rock is already wet now, okay? And you put in 3, you can start off with 2. Put in 2 full water glasses of the sand with the pebbles in it. Roll it around a little bit and tumble it and stir it and shake it and vibrate it, whatever you can do to get the sand distributed in the rock. And then pour the water in again and count how many glasses it takes to bring it up to that level line that you marked a little while ago. If you have more than 2 glasses of water, because you're supposed to have filled the all those spaces with the gravel and sand kind of stuff that passes for sand here, then you can put in one more half of that. You put in 1 more glass of sand and then stir it all up, and it should not raise the level of your rock. If you do that, you've put in too much sand. But if your level of your rock is staying fairly consistent, and now you've got 4 cups of sand and 6 cups of gravel, that's 2 to 3. When you fill it up with water, you count, and you should have like 1 or 1.5 glasses of water to bring it up to the level line. And that'll tell you how much of your kind of sand fits into your size of gravel to make all those little pieces of stone and sand locked together in a big puzzle. And then the water fills up the spaces the sand can't get into. So, Lord, I hope this is clear. But you need to do it for the supplier you're using. See, what we have here is crushed rock. It's been through a cone crusher or a jaw crusher, and probably jaw crusher first and then a cone crusher. And then it goes through a screen. Stuff bigger than 3/4 of an inch is not supposed to go through the screen, and things that's got a cross-sectional area of 3/4 by 3/4, even though it's longer, they'll fall through the screen while the screen is shaking. But if you had river rock, round river rock, and you had beach sand with no pebbles in it, your mix is going to be completely different. If you had round river pebbles and the sand, the crushed stone sand with the chunks in it, it's going to be a different mix too. So what you're trying to do is find out how much aggregate you can put into a cubic foot of this stuff, so you use less cement. That you're coating all the parts, and it's all locked together like a puzzle. And the next thing is you have to have a measuring device. When I first started doing this a long time ago, it was recommended you had a cube, a wooden cube with the top off of it, 2 handles like wheelbarrows out each end, and you would fill this box up to the top and strike it off. Just take a board and break off the extra, and you would carry that over next to your cement mixer, And then a guy on either side would grab two handles and they'd flip that thing over into the cement mixer and that would measure it. Now, we don't do that in the Philippines. I built the boxes. We use them as set on. Nobody ever measured cement with it. But you need to know how much to put in a bag. Now you notice how these bags is all round. They're not flat like a bag of cement. And also the top has been cut off. So this bag was actually had more material up at the top. So it's really taller than it looks. So what you have to do is figure out how much sand and pebbles goes in a bag to call it one measure. So you open a bag of cement up, and then you just kick it on both sides, beat it with a 2 or whatever, and make it sort of round like this. And then shake it back and forth, left to right. And then sort of level it off with a stick and mark the level in the bag. And that'll show you what one measure of cement looks like. And then when you fill in your bags with the gravel and the sand, you want to have about that same depth, you know, the same amount up to your line. So you can take the marked bag and put it full of gravel and then dump it into a fresh bag and see what it looks like. Same thing with the sand, but you're using the same measuring thing each time. Don't keep changing up. Cumulative error will kill you. Well, it'll hurt you, might not kill you. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about here, right? But about you're making the bags round. Let's look at what a bag looks like, provided we had any. Should be some in here. Things like rebar, bags of cement. Now these things look like they're not much in them compared to that sand and gravel outside, because they're flat, but they're also almost 1 3/4 times as wide as that thing is. So when you open up the top and then you punch it in the sides and make it roundish, it'll look like those bags out there. Let's see here. We use Rizal, and we use the Australian cement when we can't get Rizal, which is also very good. These are 40 kilograms. I kind of think they sell this as 1 cubic foot of cement, of Portland cement. We're not doing anything underwater, so we use type 1. You could get type 2, it's not much different. I wouldn't be terrible afraid to use it, but as long as I get what I'm supposed to get, I get what I can. Anyway, so the purpose of this video was to tell you that some of the water goes into the rock, carries cement with it. The cement coats the outside of everything. You're covering the surface area. That's why I use 3 sand to 1 cement for mortar, and 1 to 4 for render. I got that backwards. It's 1 to 4 on the mortar and 1 to 3 on the render. I'm not exactly sure why we do that. Some of it came from once we sift out the rocks, the sand that's left from our shaker screen, it's a lot less. But it's picking up surface area. See over here, that's our current shaker. An inclined screen that's fixed, that you just throw to the top and let it slide down, that's probably the way you want to do that. It's really fast. But this is the traditional way. We have traditional people. They think that's the right way to do it. They're not wrong. It works. They're comfortable with it. And there would be sheets of phenolic board on top of that if we were using it. We don't put them out in the sun just to do that. They're out in the sun sometimes, but no more than you have to. I don't know what's over there. I know what it is, can't think of the name of it. Starts with a P. Fruit. Marine guy. Started those some seeds. They grow quick. flame trees, I don't know if there's one right here anyplace, they're up in 2 days from planting the seed. If you nick it and soak it, nick it in the side to get water get in it. Apple seeds, I get them up in 2 days by looking at the end. The pointy end is where the germ is, but the seed inside is sort of elliptical. So you can cut that pointy end back, but not clear to the round part of the seed. But you can let water into the thing to swell it up and push the seed out, you know, push the root out. But you can nick that front off of it. And I tried it, usually I strip, like on citrus fruit, I grab the back, that paper cover in the back, and pull a stripe down the side, clear to the front. Leave the rest, because there's 2 halves of a seed in there stuck together up with the germ, and one's the root and one's the plant. If you separate them 2, you don't get anything. You might have a root underground, or you might have a plant that never reaches the surface. And you plant them 3 times the thickness of the seed laying flat. They're almost on top of the ground. Wet the cocoa sawdust and throw them on top of it with it wet, then sprinkle some on the top, just dry. And when you water 2-3 days later, it'll get wet. And they come up about 60% of them germinate. Okay, so today's video was concrete. If you liked it and you understand it, tell everybody that you meet how it goes. Maybe we can make better houses in the Philippines. If you liked it, you can give us a thumbs up. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, or you don't care, you can give us a thumbs down. I got one more video to finish up the damn boat series. And it's laying out that hydroplane on sheets, just to count the sheets basically, and show what it looks like for bulkheads. And I got it spread open with all the parts unwrapped, or not unwrapped, the same curve as in the boat. Anyway, I need to do that and put it in there first so they'll all be together. And then I'm going to try to do something with this and put it after it. And then the filled concrete thing, that'll go in there someplace. What a screw up. Okay. Well, the Lord loves you. Have a nice day. And I'm going to turn this off.